My self-driving car detected 47 people in an empty cemetery.
In late 2023, a software engineer named Mark Ellison bought a new electric car. To most people, it looked like any other sleek autonomous vehicle on the road. But to Mark, the most fascinating part was not the speed, not the design, but the sensors, cameras, radar, ultrasonic detectors, and most importantly, a rotating LiDAR scanner capable of mapping the world in 3 dimensions, even in complete darkness. According to the manufacturer, the system could detect every human body within 40 meters of the car, even at night, even through fog. Mark believed it, which is why, on one quiet winter night, he decided to test it somewhere that should have been completely empty.
The setting.
South of San Francisco, high in the wooded hills of San Mateo County, lies Skylawn Memorial Park. During the day, it is peaceful. Rolling lawns, marble headstones, quiet paths between old trees. But at night, the fog from the Pacific Ocean drifts inland through the hills. The cemetery becomes silent. The gates close, and the narrow road that winds through the graves is left completely empty.
The experiment.
Mark Ellison was 28 years old, a machine learning engineer living in Palo Alto, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. Like many engineers there, he loved testing technology. When his new autonomous car arrived, he spent nights experimenting with its sensors, empty parking garages, industrial areas after midnight, watching the digital map on the dashboard come alive. Cars appeared as gray blocks. Trees appeared as vertical shapes. And when a person walked nearby, the screen displayed a small glowing figure.
The display.
The system was designed for safety. If a pedestrian appeared near the vehicle, the car would automatically slow down. If someone stepped into the road, it would stop completely. Mark had watched it work perfectly, dozens of times, but he wondered something simple. How accurate are these sensors when there are absolutely no people at all? A cemetery seemed like the perfect place to find out.
Entering the cemetery.
He arrived just after midnight. The fog was thick enough that his headlights created a pale tunnel through the darkness. Beyond that light, the graves vanished into shadow. Mark drove slowly through the open gate. The dashboard map was empty. No cars, no pedestrians. Exactly as expected. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then,
The first detection.
a single human icon appeared on the dashboard screen. The car gently reduced speed. Pedestrian detected. Mark lifted his eyes to the road. There was no one there. Just fog and gravestones. He waited. Mark slowed the car even more and leaned slightly toward the windshield. "Hello?" he said quietly, half joking. The fog ahead did not move. No footsteps, no shadow, no reply. Mark glanced back at the dashboard, and then he noticed something strange. The small pedestrian icon had turned toward the car. Mark frowned. A moment later, the icon disappeared. He leaned back in his seat. Probably a glitch.
The second detection.
He continued deeper into the cemetery. 30 seconds later, the icon returned. Then another appeared beside it. Now the dashboard showed 2 pedestrians standing in the road ahead. Again, Mark looked through the windshield. Nothing. No movement. No silhouettes. No sound. Only wind in the trees.
The crowd appears.
As the car rolled slowly forward, the number began to increase. 3 figures. 5. 8. The system chimed softly. Pedestrians nearby. Mark's eyes moved between the road and the dashboard. According to the sensors, he was approaching a group of people, but the headlights revealed only rows of silent graves.
The car reacts.
The car suddenly slowed further. The system believed someone was directly in front of it. 10 figures now surrounded the vehicle on the digital display. Some stood beside the road. Others appeared directly ahead of the hood. Mark leaned forward. The road was empty, completely empty.
The number rises.
15 figures, 20, 23. The screen looked like a crowded sidewalk, but outside the car, there was only fog and stone.
The most disturbing moment.
Then something happened that made Mark's stomach drop. A human icon suddenly appeared inside the vehicle. On the dashboard display, the system believed someone was sitting in the passenger seat. Mark slowly turned his head. The seat beside him was empty.
Panic.
The car suddenly braked hard. Warning tones sounded through the cabin. The display now showed dozens of figures around the car. Mark counted them. 26, 28, 30. Then it stopped increasing. 32 figures, standing in rows along the cemetery road, as if watching the car pass. The number stabilized at 32.
Escape.
Mark disabled the autonomous system. His hands gripped the steering wheel. He accelerated toward the cemetery gate. As the car moved, the figures slowly disappeared from the screen. One by one, 28, 21, 12, 5, 2.
The last figure.
Only one remained. It appeared behind the vehicle, running, following the car down the road. When Mark finally reached the gate, the icon moved from behind the car to the back seat. Then the screen suddenly cleared. Everything vanished.
The log.
The next morning, Mark did what engineers always do. He checked the data. Autonomous vehicles store detailed driving logs, every sensor reading, every detection, every warning. Mark opened the log file from that night. The system had also saved a LiDAR point cloud recording. Millions of tiny dots mapping the environment around the car. Mark replayed it slowly. The road appeared first, then the trees, then the graves, and then shapes. Vague human outlines formed out of the floating points. Standing along the road, facing the vehicle, Mark scrolled down to the event log. The entry was time-stamped. 12:17 a.m. pedestrian detection. 12:18 a.m. additional pedestrian detection. 12:19 a.m. system braking event. Then he reached the final line. Total pedestrian objects detected, 47. 47. But the camera recordings showed no one. The road had been empty the entire time. At the peak of the incident, the dashboard had displayed 32 figures surrounding the car. But the log did not show 32 detections. It showed 47, which meant that some of the figures had appeared, disappeared, and then appeared again.
The final discovery.
Curious, Mark began searching the cemetery archives. Burial records, old newspaper clippings, historical notes. After several hours, he found something strange. In 1918, during the Spanish flu pandemic, a temporary burial section had been created in that part of the cemetery. Victims from a nearby town had been buried there quickly, before the illness spread further. Mark looked at the burial list and slowly counted the names. 26, 28, 30. Then the list ended. 32 people. 32. Exactly the number the car had displayed at the peak of the event.
Closing line.
Cameras saw nothing. Mark saw nothing. The headlights revealed nothing but fog and gravestones. But according to the sensors, the cemetery road that night was not empty at all. And the system log still lists 47 people. Mark almost closed the file. Then he noticed one final entry. 12:20 a.m. Rear passenger detected.
The real-world explanation.
Although this story is fictional, the anomaly behind it is real. LiDAR works by sending out laser pulses and measuring how they bounce back. Sometimes those pulses reflect in unusual ways off stone, metal, mist, or angled surfaces before returning to the sensor. When that happens, the system can place objects in the wrong location or create phantom points in its three-dimensional map. Fog can make this worse. Tiny droplets of moisture can scatter the laser and create noisy clusters of data. Most of the time, the software filters this out. But sometimes, those patterns briefly resemble a person or an obstacle. Then the vehicle's AI has to decide what it is seeing. It looks at shape, height, movement, and spacing. If the scan is incomplete or distorted, a gravestone, a shadow, or even a random cluster of points may be labeled as a pedestrian. Engineers sometimes call these errors false detections, false positives, or ghost objects. So the story itself is fictional. But the possibility that a car might see someone who is not there is very real.